Are you ready to unlock the secrets to a more fulfilling and balanced life? So, in today's video, I want to share 4 powerful principles that have the potential to completely transform the way you think, the way you live, and the way you interact in the world around you. So, I invite you to stick around because these insights might just be the key to the breakthrough that you have been looking for. So, hi, I am Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I invite you to like the video and subscribe to the channel. I upload content about holistic healing and personal development twice a week, usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And on Saturday, I do the Holistic Pathway podcast right here on YouTube. And videos are uploaded usually around 12 o'clock Arizona time. And on those, I talk with other entrepreneurs about the holistic journey, discussing things around mind, body, spirit, and entrepreneurship. So let's talk a little bit about where I've been and what I'm going to share with you today and why it's important. So I have a severe history of trauma, abuse, and loss, and have gotten to the other side of complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Also had a profound spiritual awakening in 2014 that transformed my life. I have had many things along the journey that have transformed my life, and what we're going to talk about today is one of the tools that I used that got me from where I was to now where I am as a holistic practitioner. I am a transformational coach. I'm a spiritual coach, a yoga teacher, yoga nidra facilitator, hypnotherapist, and several other things. So to go from where I was to where I am now took a series of things for me to figure out how I was getting in my own way, how I was creating obstacles for myself without even knowing that I was doing it. So let's get into the content. So this comes from a very small little book that I began reading. Gosh, I don't even know how long ago it's been. I no longer even have the book. I actually gave it to someone else to help them on their journey. And the book is called The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. It's a small little book that packs a powerful insight. And we're going to talk about each of these agreements today. I think they were some of the beginning keys to transform my life. So let's talk about agreement number 1, which is be impeccable with your word. Now, that may seem easy, and it is once you get used to it, but there are some things you need to know along the way. So what does that even mean, being impeccable with your word? Well, healing and personal development actually starts with you. It's really not about anyone else. And if you begin to notice when you're thinking about things, you might say things like, yeah, but if they would, blah, 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 or yeah, but if this and this and this were different. Challenge is those things only become different when you become different. And when you become different, you can make different choices. So this be impeccable with your word is about speaking with integrity. It's about saying what you mean and meaning what you say. So not flying off the handle, not spewing stuff that isn't helpful, not saying things and then not following through. So it's, I like to say over promise, or rather under promise and over deliver. That is really how you show up best for yourself in integrity. Also, it's about being impeccable with your word to yourself. Say what you mean what you say. What is your self-talk? How are you speaking to yourself? How many times are you letting you down? If you say things like, this relationship is no longer serving me, it is harmful to me, and it's no good for me. And you say that and you know that, and yet you stay in the relationship over and over and over again. That creates a ripple inside your own body and begins to keep this perpetually feeling of guilt, shame, or feeling like you've been betrayed. The betrayal is to yourself. So this is an excellent, excellent agreement to practice. It's also about recognizing how powerful your words are, the words you say to yourself, the words you say to other people. So that also includes gossip. So take a look at your life and where are you being impeccable with your word, and where do you see some growth opportunities where you can up-level your game to be impeccable with your word? I'd like to know how you're doing with that particular agreement. Number 2 is don't take anything personally. This one seems to really create a lot of problems for people, and it did for me for a long time. When you have a history like mine, you have a tendency to feel like everything is your fault, or you're being slighted, or you're whatever. It's all kinds of things like that that come through. What's important to know about don't take it personally is recognizing that every single person you come in contact with has their own journey. They're seeing things through their own filters. They're seeing things through their own experiences, through their own beliefs, and they put that on you the same as you put on them. Another way of looking at this is, what if everyone you meet is a reflection of you? And when you see this reflection, you're like, oh God, I can't stand this person. They're driving me crazy. So in that moment, it's a good time to look at yourself and say, have I had those qualities before? Is there somewhere in my life that I'm showing up like that for other people? So when you begin to learn how to not take things personally, you begin to look at each situation with clearer vision. You begin to look at each situation and say, is this really true? Is there anything that I've actually done in this situation? In other words, looking objectively to see, is there anything that I've done that contributed to the spiral that's happening in this situation? And this is about being truthful. It's about being impeccable with your word and looking at the situation and going, no, I feel good. I acted in integrity. I'm not talking about coming from a place of self-righteous. I was right, they're wrong. I'm talking about a place of coming from, I actually believe that I acted with integrity and did the things correctly in this situation. So I know their reaction to this is not really about me. It's about where they're coming from, their own history, their own experiences, their own filters, their own belief systems. It is really, really important to learn. I usually call this go on the mountaintop and go and look at yourself from a higher vantage point and say, do I have any growth opportunities here? If I stop blaming other people, or I stop taking things personally that other people say about me, and maybe it triggers the fact that I don't feel worthy, or maybe it triggers the fact that I don't feel enough. If I stop taking things personally, how can I elevate those feelings that I have so that I stop reacting to things? So very powerful agreement. The third one is don't make assumptions. You know, they always say that funny thing, you know what assume does, it makes an ass out of you and me, right? So don't make assumptions, is you really have no idea what is going on with the situation. You have no idea what someone else is going through. Now, you may have had a history of things, and that history may have taught you. And so you're always on the lookout, for worst case scenario, the other shoe to drop, or thinking the worst is going to happen. What if you had the courage to ask questions before determining it's true? What if you learn to communicate clearly? And what if you listen to the answers from a place of understanding, from listening to understand? Sometimes we make not excuses, but sometimes we make assumptions believing someone did something when it isn't true at all. Maybe, here's an example. A lot of people get really angry when they're out driving. And sometimes they assume someone is doing something aggressively toward you personally. What if there's another explanation? What if what they just did was really a mistake? What if what they just did, maybe they just lost a family member right before that? What if they just lost a job right before that, had a fight with their spouse? And really, it's all this stuff they're bringing with them that have nothing to do with you. What if? So I like to look at every situation that happens in my life and not assume that I know the reason. I have had people do all sorts of things in my life, personally and in business. And when I assume things, then I get myself into a position of believing I'm right. And so no matter what they tell me, I'm going to believe that I'm right. This is past behavior. And when I learned to stop making assumptions, I could ask clarifying questions. I could ask questions to help me understand why a person no-showed, why a person ghosted me, why a person may have done certain things. Every situation is going to be different. However, when you begin to look at things from a new lens and consider, what if there was another possibility than the one I had considered? Okay, number 4, always do your best. Now, keep in mind, your best may change every minute of the day. Your best may change every single day. So what is your best in the moment? What is your best in the moment? So let's say you have been through something really serious going on in your life, and maybe your best in that moment is not your best. Maybe you practice all of these agreements, and in a general given day, you did great. And maybe in this particular instance, not so great. However, did you do your best in that moment with what you had? So this ties in some of the other agreements. So this is an opportunity to give yourself grace. This is an opportunity to have no judgment, an opportunity to have no blame and no doubt or regret toward yourself. So remember, we talked about being impeccable with your word. And we also talk about don't make assumptions. So maybe you are in a situation to where, I'll give an example of myself. I have been considered a kind of a rock star in my life when it came to multitasking, Well, I learned over time that being a multitasker isn't really too great because you do a lot of things and then maybe some things fall through the cracks. It's also not good on your central nervous system. It's also usually a trauma response. Okay. So as I began to heal and as I began to develop, I had to come to the awareness that when I am no longer the rock star that I once was, is that really true? Or have I healed so much of those things that had me running myself into the ground before? Um, am I doing my best now? Am I tired? Am I doing my best while I'm tired? Am I carrying a lot on my plate? Am I doing the best I can with all that I'm carrying on my plate? So, this is a way for you to look at that. And then also, while being impeccable with your word, you begin to look and say, I am going to take better care of myself now. And by doing that, I am going to recognize that perhaps my limits are not limitations. Perhaps my limits are where I'm at today, and that is okay. So, are you practicing these four agreements? And if so, tell me how that's going. If not, I would love to know which of these you're having trouble with. Maybe you're having trouble with all of them. I was. And in fact, it took quite a bit of time for me to really hone in on how to weave these through every aspect of my life. The challenge comes is when you get stuck and you're not sure how to do it. You might know what to do, but you don't know how to do it. That's where I come in as a coach. So I do offer a free consultation. We spend about an hour together and talk about what you've got going on, what I do, and see if we're a great fit to work together. These four agreements are a particularly excellent place to start. And if you decide you want to book the consultation, there's some paperwork, electronic paperwork to complete. Put in there the four agreements and maybe add the agreement that you would most like to work on. That would be a great start. So, in summary, these four magical things, these four secrets, these four agreements are: number one, be impeccable with your word. Number two, don't take anything personally. Number three, don't make assumptions. And number four, always do your best. Thank you so much for watching. This is Tammy Coyne, your holistic alchemist, helping you change pain into possibilities and possibilities into purpose. I am really, really good at empowering people and giving you back your power and reconnecting you with the inner leader that you are. The first place to be strong as a leader is in your own life. So thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.